Hello and welcome to Sovereign RPG. I am Sovereign and we are back in New World, something a little bit different this time. I actually came to a realization while sitting in my granddad chair, sipping tea and eating crumpets with Marmite, pondering about why MMOs are in the complete shit state they are in, and why we haven't had any progression of development in MMOs in 15 years, as you do when you have no life. I mean, when you look at the MMOs currently available, what's actually massively multiplayer about them? If we look at the two current kings of MMOs, World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, well, WoW has kind of been downgraded to Prince, maybe even Jester. Both have minimal numbers needed for raids. They have solo queues with an endless treadmill of content that you can join with the click of a button without even moving your character. You don't even need to know a single player in either game to get the full experience of them. World PvP is almost non-existent. Nothing really matters. Nothing you do changes anything about the world you are playing in. You are the hero of your own story, and so is every other player on their own, without the need of the massively multiplayer aspects that actually allow the game to be called an MMORPG. They have both developed over the years to go from games that require the massively social aspect to move forward and progress, to games that could all fit quite comfortably into a lobby game and be exactly the same. If we continue with World of Warcraft as an example, when was the last time a Wintergrass mechanic was used within the game? The road to opening up raids like in the original game and later on in the re-release of Classic, requiring entire servers to work together, really making a difference, making you feel part of a world. Going back 20 years and looking at the games that launched in what I believe to be the golden era of MMOs, games like Dark Age Camelot, Ultima Online, Star Wars Galaxies, as stated before, vanilla World of Warcraft, up until like Wrath of the Lich King and then the death slide of the game, requiring players to band together, sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands of players all working together for a goal that actually meant something in the world we are playing in. An old saying comes to mind: they don't make them like they used to. Maybe that's just because I'm an old bastard and I miss the way the days used to be and I'm not that great with change. But that's when I came to the realization that New World actually ticked a lot of those boxes for me. Seeing which of the larger guilds rise to power and take regions, seeing which of the guilds get their asses kicked, which guilds crumble, which guilds rise, which faction becomes dominant, which player screws over an entire community of people. The political aspects that MMOs these days lack. What I've been looking for a good long time is a game that puts community actions above the individual's action, pitting groups of players against groups of players, and not just in the battleground sense, but actual guilds and whole factions with actual teamwork in order to succeed. EVE Online does this very well, but the requirements to get into EVE Online are way too high, and the game has been out so long with its concrete player base that the chance of the game growing after 18 years, especially with all the recent microtransaction bullshit that's been going on, is almost non-existent. Albion Online currently has some of these boxes ticked, but the combat has become really boring and tiring. The game is filled from arsehole to earhole with bots, and the community itself, hell, even the most prevalent content creators are more toxic than a dumping site for a nuclear power plant. While these MMOs are doing something right, at least for me, companies are pushing more for the corporate money side of gaming than the actual love of the genre, and we can feel it. Blizzard going through a massive lawsuit because many employees don't know how to be decent, non-sociopathic human beings. Sandbox Interactive being accused of not giving a shit about their community and pushing for bots to exist just to make money, giving many preferred players access to content before it's released so those guilds can be a step ahead of the rest. CCP and their daddy trying to sneak in microtransactions with nerfs to players' abilities to make their own money in the game whilst pushing for more spending on the game's Plex currency. It seems like all of these games we have known and loved for years are being taken over and made to be cash cows more than a great player experience. And then we have New World, while being developed by an offshoot of a company that has been brought to court many times for its modern day slavery approach. There are a lot of old school MMO devs in the team that still know the feeling of what it's supposed to be to create an online world for people to live in. So there is still some kind of hope. I still honestly have no idea why in this genre of games I still have hope for anything than what we've been getting. But there will be one day when there is actually a change, where developers will realize they will make much more money if they just make a great game that people want to play and invest time and money in, and have that money coming in for a long time rather than just making a bit of money over the small period of time and then just moving on to the next game. I know nothing about the business of building an MMO. I don't understand how creating a new MMO from scratch to make more money on a cash grab is going to make you more money than actually building a game that is going to be lasting a long time with a lot of people that want to actually spend time in it. But what we're seeing from New World is that New World has clear objectives that pit groups of players against groups of players in a way that actually has meaning in the world itself. Yes, the game has its issues. Yes, I had a few choice words to say about the game in my first impressions, but really thinking about it, and I hate this word, it has potential. New World has its work cut out for it, and having the flagging system does detract from the world, but honestly I understand why they added it to the game, even if I don't particularly like it. Given the regions you control, towns, and giving those towns taxations, mixing in faction pride, could be the start of something beautiful down the line. It's just such a shame about the bloody flag. If the game works on its dungeons, the AI, adds some large-scale raids, maybe a capital city system with larger bonuses but having very few of them to push more conflict within the game, put a little bit of time into the combat and gets rid of the figure skating animations and the god-awful text-to-speech bullshit, we could really have a good game on our hand. There are many mechanics in the game that actually bring players together when you look at the actual fact that you can get the PvE on the attack on forts, where you have different waves attacking you at the end game, where you can get out different siege engines, and the leader of your company is going to be putting out the defenses, and whoever owns the actual fort itself puts out the defenses, and then you fight against waves, and the further you get in the waves, if you work together well, the better loot you get. Attacking a fort as a faction to be able to take more space, more regions, it really adds to the game in a group sense, which is what a lot of the MMOs of today are lacking. It's like they just named a game an MMO to bring in the niche gamers into a pocket just to make money off them, because they know that MMO players are actually some of the most loyal, most willing to spend money, and players that have the most hope of change compared to a lot of other players of games like Call of Duty and stuff, where they just log on for 10 minutes and do a quick game and log off again. A lot of developers seem to be taking advantage of the fact that MMO players are much more loyal in the games that they play. As I said, while New World does have its issues, and it really does, as long as the leadership of the dev team makes its bloody mind up on how he wants the game to be and stop changing what the game is supposed to be after months of working on one direction only to switch directions, not make the same development mistakes of other MMOs, work on the issues the game has currently and only those issues, not creating new content until the already available content is fixed, we could have something great. Or then again, they'll just add a shitload of microtransactions and kill the game off for already pissed off MMO community for a quick bit of moolah. We will just have to see what happened. The longer I played New World, the more I began to appreciate the small things that really bring me back to the older MMO feeling. But that's just my opinion. An old bastard MMO player from the old days, complaining, sitting on my deck chair, cleaning my shotgun, wondering why the kids of today are so shit. But anyway, we'll be starting a company named Immortalis for launch, and we'll be playing in the Covenant faction. We are gluttons for punishment. If you would like to join us on this journey to see how far we can go, join up in my Discord, link in the description below, and ping myself or one of the mods for roles to give you access to the company section. We do have a plan in play on how we're going to be starting out from the beginning, so if there's something that interests you, just let me know, or just join us to talk about the game or to shit on me for my old school take on what MMO should be. Let me know down below how you are finding New World. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you want me to burn in a pit of fire? Let me know in the comment. Thank you all for watching. Fly safe and avoid local chat scams.